Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lorcanarama. I am Kelsey, and with me, as always, is
Sabrina.
Sabrina. Yay! we took a 2-week hiatus due to life, and that's all I'll say. Maybe one day I'll open up about it, but tonight's not that night. It's good to be back. I appreciate those who reached out to me while I was out. Asking us if we were still doing the stream, and it had me worried. I was like, oh, I actually have people that missed us. So, but if you're joining us tonight and you are in our chat room, I'd like to welcome you. Please click that subscribe button and follow us if you're not doing so already. We greatly appreciate it. So Sabrina, how has your weekend been with the new set?
Been good. Toby and I opened our case at like 2 a.m. Friday night. So we had a lot better luck than we did with the last set. So it was fun. Good times.
When you say a lot better luck, you mean with pulls or just playing it? Or
last set we didn't open a single Tamatoa. And Toby about went through the roof of our house. So
I had to call it a Toby Toa now.
Yeah, that was not a fun time, but we did a lot better this time. And my mom was actually in town, and she pulled a foil Namari out of a trove. So that was
nice. How much did you open this weekend?
We opened a case and 3 troves. It might have been 5 boxes. No, it was a case and 3 troves.
Okay, so 3 troves is a box for all intents and purposes, but we know how they are. It seems like every trove has at least. I've been watching them throughout the sets. They have at least one legendary, and they're either going to have a foil, super rare, foil legendary, or if you're lucky, a foil. Or enchanted cards, though. That's about what they end up with.
Troves.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like I always have good luck with troves. Of course, this time my mom opened the best card, but it was kind of cool because she opened it and I was like, go show Toby, like he wants that card. So it was cool to like get her involved because she doesn't know what she's opening. Yeah. She just knows the characters.
Right. It's like my wife. My wife is like, she has no clue what she's opening, but she knows to go for the foil in the back. And and she does know that an enchanted looks mighty different than a regular one, so she'll at least know that. But did you pull an enchanted in your case, or?
Toby pulled a Jasmine in our case, and he pulled.
Nice.
I want to say a Captain Hook, but I could be wrong. In his trove, I haven't opened one this set.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got. I opened up a few packs and got a Mother Gothel enchanted. So I have a case that I have not opened yet. Just stuff this week. Don't have time for it right now. I would probably grab it middle of the week or so.
You'll have to report back your pulls.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm still looking for that Into the Unknown. That's what I want. Somebody in our local shop pulled it. Hope I can trade them for it because I need it for my daughter's day. Well, it needs relative term, right? So my daughter thinks I need it. Yeah, my daughter thinks I need it. But she needs it, not me.
He needs it.
Yeah. She saw the artwork on it, and so I tried to fool her. I go, look, I got a foil. I did get a foil of the regular one. In one of my packs. So that's a start. So I was like, we're gonna put this in there. She goes, that doesn't look like the one you showed me. And I'm like,
Save yourself. You shouldn't have shown her.
Yeah.
Now the expectations like all the way up.
Well, I like creating the excitement with her. It's that's why I play the game, is for her and the excitement she shows. So any new Elsa comes out. Now I have not shown her. There's an Elsa gift set coming out, I think next set. I have not shown her that. And the reason being is that I just would have to buy a whole lot of them probably. And so I will get her one as a gift probably. And
there's
let
one
her enjoy
per box, isn't there?
Yeah. But I'll have to buy 4 of them. so she have a place
that seems reasonable to me. I'll be buying 4.
Yeah. And they're purple. That's what's so cool is they're purple. The cards are purple. The box is purple. Everything's purple.
Yeah, they're cool looking. They're really cool looking. I was happy with the playmat announcement for next set too. While we're talking about random announcements they've made. The Bippity Boppity Boo artwork looks sick on the playmat. Very excited about that.
I have not seen that yet. I've been, for those who don't know, I've been like out the whole week. I have not seen anything. I don't know. So, I'm behind the times here. So catch me up on that. What else did they reveal?
They announced the 2 precons for next set.
Okay.
And the playmats. So the playmats are the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo and crap. What's the other one?
Gonna have me looking for it now. I'm like, what is it? We'll grab it later. So
I have the chat open where I was talking about it, so I should be able to find it.
I think I saw something on a Discord when I came back on today of a Lilo. So.
Oh, Deadpool just pulled the Enchanted Jasmine.
Yeah, I got you there, Jake. I saw your post and it was in there just before we went live. I told her, I said, hey, somebody in the shop pull one. So.
It's the Mufasa.
Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, congrats, Jake. Yeah. So Jacob was cursed for a while. He couldn't pull an enchanted for like I don't know how many sets. In fact, we wouldn't let him touch our packs of cards. So he was just so cursed. But he seems to have broken that in the last couple sets.
That's how Toby was. This is before this set. I think Toby had only opened 2 enchanteds. There was the pack he pulled for me with the Jasmine in it. And then he opened one other one. But it's usually me that opens the enchanted. So like I felt bad that I was disappointed when he opened it in this case. Because I like wanted to be happy for him, but I was like, damn.
Yeah, where's mine? Yeah, that's the problem. Like when you share a case, one of you is probably going to get one and the other one, it's like you're fighting over one enchanted unless you get that lucky case, right? So
yeah. Hey, at least we got one. I hate when you hear about people that open a case and there isn't one. I'm like, that just feels bad.
Yeah, that does. I don't know. I think I did have a case a while back that didn't have one. And then I made up for it. I think it was the one where they went to 18. No, just past 18. It was the one that had Finders Keepers in it, that set. I pulled that and one other enchanted in the same case. So
that's cool. That feels good.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So neither one of them were, well, at the time, neither one of the cards was worth more than $40. So it was like, well, it took 2 to make the price of 1. But Finders Keepers is seeing some play now. So, that one's kind of has some value.
I opened one of the location enchanteds in like a prize pack 1 week after that set. And it was red. I remember it was red.
Snuggly Duckling.
Yeah, I think
because that was my enchanted in my case of that set.
Yeah. Toby was like, Toby's like, go ahead, open a legendary. And I was like, no, I'm going to get an enchanted. And he's like, oh, like, don't jinx yourself. And I open it and I'm like, well, it's an enchanted, just the worst one I could possibly open. It's worth like $20.
Yeah, that was, I was 2 weeks ago, I talked about, I wanted to do a little rant. And that was what I was going to rant about was, I think they're making an effort really in the next set to make it exciting to open packs of Lorcana cards. Because to be honest with you, like unless it's a new set, right? You're opening them for the new cards, but there really isn't anything in there beyond once you get the cards you want to play with. There's no reason for me right now, with the way currently things are, to go and open another pack. Because number one, the only thing I can get excited about pulling is an enchanted card, right? And they're one in about 96 packs. So, it's like the chances of me getting one are slim and none. Why do I want to spend the $6 for a lottery ticket that I'm going to scratch off and is not going to win anything? So that's just how I feel. But, with the next set, with the additional rarities in there, now things get a little more exciting for me. Now I'm like, okay, I'm already like setting aside extra money for the next set, for Fable. So
I'm really excited about the next set. The only thing, my only complaint, if I'm going to throw like a little criticism in here, is that I wish they let Reign of Jafar shine for like a week.
Yep.
Before we just because I feel like we already went full throttle on Fabled.
Yeah.
And Reign of Jafar literally just came out 2 days ago.
I saw that the other day. I'm seeing stuff for the next set. And like, I hadn't even gone to get my stuff from the store yet, from Reign of Jafar. And I was like, and it was like this, even in their announcements, it was like, and here's all the exciting stuff we got coming. Oh yeah, by the way, Reign of Jafar is coming out next month. But anyways, we got all this other stuff. And I was like, it's how can you get excited about something that they didn't seem excited about, you know? So it was,
Well, that's what's hard. It's like, am I like, because I think there's some really cool cards in this set.
yeah,
And then like, am I just totally missing the mark because they don't seem excited about it?
yeah. I
So
think
like,
that
are we just supposed to not care?
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes of Ravensburger. I can only make some inferences, and what I deduct and what I suspect, and there's nothing wrong with this. This happens, right? You have a new regime, for lack of a better term, right? You got new people in the positions of leadership, whether it be their marketing, their communication, which we know, their the organized play, all of that. New people doing it, and it's like, okay, their stuff is really honed in on this next stuff. That's where they probably had their hand in. You know, the Reign of Jafar was something that was probably passed on to them by the previous folks. And so they're just like, yeah, this isn't ours. We know we got to talk about it, but, you know, here it is. Let's go to the next one. And so, you know, I don't know. I just suspect, but that's just human nature anyways. You know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get excited about when you're at work, something you don't own in a way, you know, something you
Yeah.
didn't have anything to do with, but I can understand it. But
I think in a lot of ways they're dangling the future in front of us like a carrot, though. Because, like, from what we know about when Worlds is and how far in advance they tend to announce DLCs, et cetera, in all likelihood, we're not, like, a DLC will likely come in Fabled,
yeah,
right? Like, if we're going to use context clues,
yeah,
we're not getting one for Reign of Jafar. So
no,
it's like, at this point, I feel like we're putting all of our eggs in this next basket.
yeah.
But that's also scary if they can't live up to the hype that they're creating.
Yeah. The only thing Reign of Jafar seems to have going for it is it's going to be legal for Worlds. So, you know, it's, and they'll probably, in some of the limited play they have, I imagine that they'll probably be, I won't say completely focused on Reign of Jafar, but I believe it will probably be the highlight of it. So we'll see. They have plans. We're all just along for the ride, right? so you know, it's
All right.
yeah, and I think that, you know, I'm not one that's going to knock folks and say you're doing it all wrong. I'm not in their position. I don't know, and also I have a different perspective on things. It's a game, and I love the game. And what I really love is the community that the game has sprung up. And so I'm appreciative of Ravensburger and everything they've done. And the rest of the community will let them know they dropped the ball on some things. And we don't need to rehash all that stuff, right? But, you know, just some context clues and some lessons here, you know, guys at Ravensburger. You had a new set that came out this week, and you're already talking about something else. You got to kind of sell what the product is that you have right now. Maybe they short printed it and they don't want us running out to buy it. I don't know. So it is what it is.
You think they would want you to go buy it then? Go buy it in masses, create demand.
Right. That would be cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Fabled is 3/4 as good as a lot of us think it'll be, and it'll still be great. So.
Yeah, I hope. And, you know, it's kind of tough too, because, you know, like, well, you don't know. We know that there will be some reprinted cards in there, right? So I already know that some of the things I open, I'm gonna be like, oh, I already got this. So,
but are they gonna reprint it with new art? Because that also kind of changes things a little bit.
I don't think so.
Well, the Captain Hook got reprinted in this set with different art.
Yeah,
but drop challenger.
But everything else they showed for that set that we know of so far has the same art.
Well, maybe they don't want to spoil the art yet.
I guess so. So, but you know what? I also take that clue from that podcast where they had their creative person. It was I don't remember the young lady's name who came on, but you know, she did make the comment under her breath, like, you know, they asked her, was it alternate art? And she goes, no, not yet. It's or something along those lines. So it was kind of like there was a hint, like, they're going to be the rarity that's more rare than legendary, but less rare than the enchanted, not the iconic or the epic rares. So that are just the old art with regular frames. Now she was just talking about those. So that just led me to believe that they're still working with the old art for the cards with an eye to the future of doing the alternates. So yeah, the alternates I think are best saved for promos in a way too, or special cards, we'll see. We'll see what they do.
It'll be interesting to see a lot about that set. I think there's a lot about that set that'll be interesting, especially which cards they choose to reprint.
Yeah.
I know that's a big conversation in my circle, my local area, is, we're all debating which cards we think are going to get reprinted sooner rather than later, which ones we don't think will get reprinted at all.
Yeah, I have some ideas. There's certain cards that I think are staples that I believe, will hang around for sure. You don't want to get rid of. Like, I think Dragonfire hangs around because that's the standard by which you count removal, right? Solid removal, 5 cost unequal. Do we play it? No, but that's a standard, right? I think Friends from the Other Side, that hangs around. That's your standard draw.
That's so funny. So, that's the most decisive card amongst us.
Is it?
It's Friends on the Other Side. Yeah. We're like a 50-50 split. I am convinced it'll be reprinted in Fabled. Like the first, it'll be reprinted in the first cycle of reprints. And half of our friend group is like, that's never going to get reprinted.
Yeah.
And to me, like, it's just a staple. Like,
yeah, it's a staple.
If purple is meant to have a draw mechanic, they'll reprint that.
Yeah. And I look at it too, right? Songs are a very important part of the game. And I'm not saying they've exhausted their song catalog, but at some point they will. And you're going to want some songs that are staple cards that are easily, just always in the format, stuff like that. I think some songs are broken that they probably don't want to come back right now. But the great thing about rotation is, and especially with a set like that, they can decide to reprint whatever they want and bring it back. It's up to them. And, it'd be nice, hey, something like Let It Go leaves the format, but then here we go a year later, hey, Let It Go is back, you never know. So they have that flexibility, except we probably won't see Hiram back. So, but
see what back?
Hiram Flaversham, Hiram, however we want to say it. So
no, I don't think so.
Anyways, no.
Maybe we'll get Bucky, OG Bucky. They'll reprint it.
One can dream. So these kids these days just don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll be those old folks sitting around. I remember back in the day, we had a 2-cost inkable that whenever I played a Floodborn, you discard a card. Oh, he'd be easy to get rid of. No, son, he had Ward. What's Ward, Grandpa? Because Ward would get banned as a mechanic. What's Ward, Grandpa? Well, son, they made cards at one point that you couldn't even interact with. So, yeah. Alrighty. So tonight, one of the things we wanted to do was to go over Reign of Jafar and look at Justice for Bucky. Yeah, right? Yeah, this is in our chat. Hashtag Justice for Bucky. So tonight we're going to look at some of the Reign of Jafar cards. Just some interesting ones. Some that bring up some interesting interactions. Some rules questions or things like that. We're going to go over those. We're just going to look at them. Sabrina and I just kind of put our heads together. Just came up with some. If there are any that you could think of that we don't go over or cover, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll discuss them. I have judged it at DLC, so I can answer most of the questions. I am not perfect. I am not even the best judge. So there are other judges out there that are way better than I am with the rules, but I know them well enough to get us through. So anyways, so we're going to start tonight. We're going to pull up some images on the stream here real quick for Reign of Jafar and start going through these. And the first one is one that I was excited about just to play with in the set, and that is the new Bambi card. The Bambi Little Prince, who says whenever you play this character, you gain 1 lore. He quests for 3. He has a 3-cost unequal amethyst card, 1/1. His ability that I wanted to talk about, though, is the second ability on his card called Kind of Bashful. It says when an opponent plays a character, return this character to your hand. So naturally, that brings up some interesting interactions. Anybody think of any? I can. Good thing you asked. So let's ask this question. What happens when my opponent plays a Sisu, daring visitor, and chooses my Bambi? And for those of you who listening don't have the images up, the Sisu says when you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 1 strength or less. And of course, Bambi has 1 strength. So what would happen in this interaction? Anybody, you want to take a guess, Sabrina?
So I'm trying to think through it the way you think through like the evasive triggers, and the card that's played resolves first, which would mean Sisu's ability resolves first. But I'm not sure because Bambi doesn't specify any type of character, it just says character. It makes me question it, but I'm gonna stick with it gets banished. I'm gonna stick with it gets banished.
It gets banished. All right. And anybody in our chat think any different? You got 3 seconds to say no, yes, 2, 1. Here we go. So it depends on when it happens, actually. So if it is on my opponent's turn and they play Sisu, the Sisu will trigger and will go in the bag, and Bambi's ability will trigger and go in the bag. And my opponent's, since it is his turn, will get to resolve their Sisu first, therefore targeting my Bambi, sending my Bambi away. And then when Bambi's trigger goes to, I go to the bag to get it, I have no Bambi on the board to return to my hand. So if it is my opponent's turn, then the Sisu would banish the Bambi. However, if it is on my turn and my opponent plays Sisu, and you go, well, how the heck can that happen? Well, we got the Mufasa effect, right? So if they flip over Sisu on my turn, and then both of them will go in the bag. However, I get to resolve my triggers first. Therefore, I will return my Bambi to the hand, and Sisu can banish something. It just won't choose Bambi, so because he won't be there.
The Bambi's not an available target.
He gone, right? So he is out of there. So I like this card. I think it's going to add a lot of fun interactions in the game and a lot of questions. I bet, and I'm going to take a stab at it, this will be the number 1 card I have questions with if people open up enough of them locally. So it's a legendary. So you might not see them for a bit. Yep. So there's Bambi. Okay. Our second card that I have already seen questions pop up about. Down in New Orleans. It is a song for 6 cost unequal. It's a 6 cost unequal sapphire song. And it says, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character, item, or location card with cost 6 or less and play it for free. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now that seems pretty straightforward. But the question comes, what if I flip over a card that I can shift? So can I play my card for its shift cost? Because there are some cards like the new Go-Go Tamago or Tamago. You say Tamago, I say Tamago, whatever. I don't know how to say her name. So, but anyways, and she has an effect that says when you play this character, if you use shift to play her, you could put chosen character into the player's equal face down and desert it. So she has a great ability that you would probably want to use your shift mechanic with in order to get. So the question is, can I use her shift ability to play her? So, you ever thought of that one?
I'm stumped.
You're stumped. Well.
Yeah, I want to say yes, but I also definitely want to say no.
Okay. You have a reason for saying no? Because nobody told me I could?
Because it hasn't existed yet. Like, I've never seen this interaction yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think back to the old Mufasa deck.
Yeah.
Where you can like play something for free, right? That's
sure.
like my biggest. And I don't think it had shift in it. So that wasn't something that I cared about. And
Mufasa would pose the same problem here, really. And it all comes down to playing something for its alternate cost. So you can play it for free, or, that's what you're basically doing. You're playing it for free. But the cost that you're paying is the shift cost here, and you can actually play it using the shift ability. So yeah, interesting little interactions with cards like this. So you could, now the key is that the card still needs to cost 6 or less, not shift cost 6 or less. The ink will in the top of the card, where she's a 4 cost uninkable, that has to still be 6 or less in order to be able to do it. So
that makes sense. So that was part of my reasoning also when I was thinking it through. That makes sense.
Yep. Interesting little interaction. Okay, let's go. We got another one here. All righty. This one is one that really interests me because I believe this card is going to see a lot of play. And it is Jiminy.
Peter Pan.
What's that?
The other part of this interaction, Peter Pan.
Maybe. I actually have 2 pieces of interaction with this one. So, but okay. Yes, Peter Pan is one of them. I told you, I didn't tell anybody else. All right. So here we go. Jiminy Cricket. All right. He's a 2 cost, inkable, amethyst card, 1/1, quest for 1. That's not what we care about, right? He's evasive. We don't care about that. But it's his ability. Enough's enough. While this character is exerted, opposing characters with rush interplay exerted. So that's pretty straightforward. If a character has rush, printed on his card and you put him in play, he's exerted. There's no questions there. That's straight across the board. But as Sabrina's already put out, what happens when a player that is evasive gains its rush ability from Peter Pan? So here, what we have, just so you know, is a static effect. And so a static effect is some ability that a card innately has based on some effect on the board. It's not a triggered effect. In other words, a condition didn't just take place that triggered it to have it. Rather, it is a static effect that affects all the gameplay. That's just ongoing effect, right? So in this case, because it is a static effect, the player, the character with evasive would interplay with rush, and therefore he would be exerted. So
that makes sense.
So that's one way. Now there was a second interaction with this card. Let me go to this card. So now we have the new Mushu, right? Who has an ability that says whenever you play another character, they gain rush, reckless, and evasive this turn. So here we have a character with rush. All characters, whenever you play another character, if you have Mushu in play, his ability is going to trigger and give them rush. Now, notice I said here, his ability triggers. That's different from a static ability. So because it triggers, the card is going to interplay first before the triggered ability is resolved. Therefore, when Jiminy Cricket sees it, he doesn't have the rush ability, so therefore it would not be exerted. So little nuances here brought out this card between static and triggered abilities. So it's kind of neat. You would think, and I can tell you would think there are going to be a lot of questions too, right? Well, if Peter Pan makes it so that they get exerted, why can't this card do it too, Well, it comes down to static and triggered ability. So never thought this game would be complicated, huh?
This is a really interesting interaction.
Yeah. You're already brewing, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking on this one. This one's very interesting.
Yeah, I think Jiminy Cricket is a very powerful card. Because there are a lot of characters, a lot of Ruby decks, a lot of Amethyst decks. Really, they really key in on their characters having rush. But some of them, they use the items like Vitalosphere to give them rush. That wouldn't count, right? Because that's a triggered ability. You got the ability after they came into play. So, so a little bit different. I
undervalued Jiminy Cricket a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good card. Good card. He almost made my top 10 list. When we did it, I had him. He was in the last 3 or 4 that I cut.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it mainly because he's evasive too. He's just going to be hard to get rid of. So. All right. Next one. Ooh, I went too far. Man, I just scanned right through him. All right. Tinkerbell. All right. So Tinkerbell is a 2-cost uninkable, 2-cost inkable 1/1 Ruby card that has evasive with the ability pay attention. Whenever you play a character with 5 strength or more, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. So I don't have any interactions I want to pull up for this card. I just want to talk about a couple things because we just talked about it with Jiminy Cricket. It's interesting here. There are abilities that can give your characters more strength, right? And so when the characters come into play, can you exert them? So the ones that already have 5 printed on the card's pretty easy, right? But what if I had something that was 4 strength and I had something like Lumiere in play and he gives all my characters +1? So could I exert that character? Well, yeah,
it's a static ability.
There you go. Sabrina, I'm so proud of you. Right. You looked lost and confused when we talked about Jiminy Cricket, but I saw the wheels turning and they have you've made the full turn. The drive is complete for you. Good job. Good job. So
all clicking now.
It's all clicking now, right? Hey, this podcast is over. I've done my job. I'm out. So we're done for the night. Static versus triggered. If an ability triggers and gives them more strength, then you cannot exert them to gain the lore because they will have already been in play to have the benefit. But if it's static, they come into play with it, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. So kind of neat. So that's why I wanted to piggyback this card off of the Jiminy Cricket. New card, same thing. All right. King Candy. Oh, yes. So King Candy's very interesting. He is 3-cost inkable, dual link, Amber Ruby card, 3/2, strength willpower, with an ability called a new roster. When this character is banished, you may return another racer character card from your discard to your hand. So I have this interaction. What happens if I banish him? I have another racer in play along with him, and I banish all characters with Be Prepared. Will I get to bring the other racer back to from my discard to my hand?
No. Ooh. I don't think so.
Don't think so. Okay.
I thought Be Prepared banished everything in a single.
It does.
Which would mean they all triggered at once.
Are you familiar with the Amethyst Hades card that costs 6 costs uninkable, quest for 3, says whenever on your opponent's turn, whenever another character of yours is banished, you gain 2 lore?
Yeah.
Okay. So his card is kind of the same interaction, right? If you play Be Prep and wipe the board, that Hades will see all the other characters banished and you gain 2 lore for them. That's why I love that Hades card in my Emerald Amethyst deck, because I'll go wide and I'll drop him, and if they can't take him out, they can't wipe my board, and therefore I get another turn out of it, out of them questing, or I'll get he's a beast. So it's the same principle here. King Candy will see the other racer cards in the discard pile, believe it or not. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I misread this card. I thought that it was saying when this character is banished, you can return another racer card from the board to your hand.
Yeah. Okay.
That was why I was like, everything happens at once.
Yeah.
It sees.
Right. So in this case, what happens is his ability will go in the bag. His triggered ability will go in the bag. And when you go to resolve it, your racer's in the discard pile. So.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Just can't return him. But you can return you can return another King Candy, which would be cool. But see, this one is an interesting one, and I'd like to get rules clarification from Ravensburger on this one, right? Because the whole thing that they say is you return another racer character card, right? So the intent is you can't return King Candy, right? But they tell us when you bounce something back to your hand, and like with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, you can play the same card. Why? Because it went to your hand. It's another card, right? It's not the same character, right? Well, why is the discard pile any different? Right? This guy went to the discard pile. How do I know that another racer? What if I put 2 King Candies in there and I shuffle them together, right? So you don't know which one is the right one.
Is there like a game state between being banished and being in the discard pile?
I don't know.
The
I don't know.
trigger of it being banished
I
is when
don't
it
know.
gets seen, and it's not technically in the discard yet.
There we go. Discard is public information where your hand is not. Oh, that's a good point.
That's a
That's a
good
good point.
point.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. Yeah. That's a convenient excuse is what that is though. So they're like, well, we can't tell which one it is, right? So how can we say you can't do it, you know? So yeah. So anyways, I think they gotta, they're going to need clarification on this one, to be honest with you. And they may already have, I just might not have seen it. But I will definitely be looking for that. And if I have that, I'll push it out to everybody. So,
Definitely.
so yeah, it's just an interesting one, right? You know, cause it's like you got two zones that act differently. I know they're different zones, right? But they try to carry these same principles with them from zone to zone with the card interactions. And this is one that, yeah. But anyways, it would return the other racer back. So anyways, all right, next card, Stitch. The new Stitch. He is a 3-cost uninkable Sapphire card, 3/3 quest for 2. Sonate. When you play this character, each opponent puts the top card of their deck into their inkwell face down and exert it. That's not the ability I want to hone in on. I want to hone in on the other one, Stealth Mode. At the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may choose and discard a card with the ink symbol, in other words, an inkable card, to play this character for free, and he enters play exerted. So my question is, can I discard this Lilo and then play her on the same turn? Because this happens at the start of my turn. It's Lilo and Stitch, right? You would think they would go together, right? Unfortunately, you cannot. Because the time for her ability to be triggered has already passed when his triggers and goes into the bag. So you can do it on the next turn, maybe. But
the start of your turn.
So you go to those phases at the start of your turn, right? Start of your turn, you throw all your abilities in the bag, you do some stuff, and then you go and you resolve them. So you go to resolve his. Well, there's no Lilo has to be there at the beginning when those abilities get thrown in the bag in order for you to opt to play her. So by the time you pitch the card with Stitch, that time to check for Lilo has come and gone. So that's pretty much the way it works.
But I don't like it.
I don't either, because it's Lilo and Stitch, right? Why would they put these cards like this if they didn't want them to interact together?
Yeah, it feels like they should synergize better.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think, right? I would think that they designed this and to go, we got this. We're going to let you be able to pitch Lilo and then turn around and bring her in play. And they designed these cards way back around set 1 or 2 with these things in ideal. And they finally gave them to us in set 6 and 8. And then the rules people in between said, nope, we're going to make some rules that say these cards can't interact in the way we want them to. So I'm sorry, guys. You can't do it. Alrighty.
That's big sad.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. So, fantastical and magical, an amethyst song that costs 9 and it's uninkable. Who would put this in their deck? Well, when you see what it can do, I think a lot of us might. But here we go. It has Sing Together 9. All right, so here we go. We're talking now, right? So it's not just an expensive song. It's one we can sing together. For each character that sang this song, draw a card and gain 1 lore. So my question on this is, can I sing it with characters in excess of the 9 cost? So let's say I've got characters on board, 4 or 5. I say I got 5 characters on board, and if I exert them all their ink totals up to about 15. So I exceeded the whole sing together number. So can I just tap all of my characters for all intents and purposes, even though I exceed the cost of this card, to sing it in order to draw a card and gain 1 lore for each one?
Yes. It says it on the card.
Does it?
Total cost 9 or more.
There you go. Bam. I have turned Sabrina into a rules shark. Hey, I've turned you into a rules shark. This is awesome. From now on, I am not going to be the judge on this podcast. I'm not going to be the rules expert. I am going to be passing this off to Sabrina because she is getting it now. Yep. Nice call. Yes, the answer to the question is, despite our banter here, is that you may exert as many characters as you like in excess of that sing together number, and gain one lore and draw a card for each one. So I'm sure there will be times when you want to do it. So, I was sitting around thinking about this card in the Jafar wheel deck. This would be great, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah, right.
I hadn't thought of that.
Anybody wins with that deck, I said it first here. Just so anyway, All right. Here we go. Raleigh. Yes, I'm talking about a Dalmatian puppy, right? Chubby puppy. Raleigh, who is a 4-cost inkable, dual link amber sapphire card, 2/3 with support. His ability, when you play this character, you may put a character card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. Now, we get this question all the time when we see these cards. Here it is. Does the card I choose need to be inkable?
No.
No, it does not. We're at least being consistent with that now, right?
Inkable if it says ink an additional card this turn.
Correct.
But you're not inking, you're placing a card into your inkwell.
All right. Good job. You should take the judge test, by the way.
I should not. Don't suggest that. Then my friends are going to ask me questions.
If they watch your podcast, hey,
I love you, but no.
If they watch your stream, they're going to know they can ask you questions anyways, right? So
Toby's the go-to rules guy in the circle.
Yeah, not anymore. You better watch out. All right, here we go. Pinocchio, my second favorite card in this set. That's not the one my daughter wants. All right, here we go. Pinocchio, 4-cost inkable, 04 amethyst card, has evasive. Quest for 2. Once during your turn, whenever you ready this character, you may draw a card. So the question was asked, does his ability trigger on the ready step at the beginning of the turn? In other words, when you ready him up at the beginning of the turn, do you get to draw your card? So the answer to that is...
I assume so.
Probably so, because that'll probably be the first time you ready him. So
yeah, and I feel like if it wasn't the case, they would have phrased it differently. It would have been like once per turn when you draw the second card per turn.
I think the point that they're trying to do here is that you can't have shenanigans where you exert him and then ready him and then exert him and then ready him and just keep drawing cards, because that would end up in some broken state with some future card down the road if we don't already have them, because we already have shenanigans with the card that the 3-cost green action that people keep readying Jafar or Robin Hood with, right? So just over and over again, ready him. And so in this case with him, more than likely it'll be at the start of your turn because that's the first time you ready him. However, there are cards out there like the Elsa that says, you say they tap this down and say you cannot ready him on your next turn, right? But then during your turn, you get a card that readies a character and you choose to ready him. Well, that's the first time you readied him for the turn. And so you could do it then. So basically, yes, the first time you ready him on the turn, you get to draw a card for him. So interesting card. Will it take the place of Genie? It just might. I'm
intrigued to see how this card is used.
Yeah, he's inkable, which is what I like. Now, Genie is uninkable. I will never know what it's like to have the opportunity to ink Genie because he's always been uninkable, right? But there have been times I've had him in my hand and I've been like, I need ink and I don't want to ink this Merlin crab I got, but I got no choice. Pinocchio is he is inkable, which I like about him, and he's evasive. So for all intents and purposes, right, he's got the same costs, quest for the same, may even draw you more cards than Genie. I don't know. Genie's a guaranteed 1. Pinocchio is a guaranteed if somebody's got a brawl, they're going to kill it right away. But if he hangs around, he's going to pay off. So.
And Genie's what? Genie's a 2/4, right?
Yeah, he's 2/4. So they both died of brawl, so it doesn't matter to me, on the 2 or the 0. So. What matters though is the people love to tap down your genies with an Elsa and then run another genie and their Elsa into it, at least the genie does 2 back so that if I had my own Elsa, I can take their genie back out on the next turn. But Pinocchio is not going to hurt anybody. Good gracious. That zero can hurt you in a heartbeat. So I think
feel like this won't be a 1-for-1 swap. Something else in that color will have to change too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that, yeah. I think, honestly, as long as we have the 5-drop Elsa that taps down and runs and genie in the environment, I don't think this Pinocchio is going to see much play. But I leave the table open for it. So, you know. So, but here's an interesting thing. If you could somehow exert him on the turn you play him and ready him again before the turn's over, you would get to draw the card.
Well, if you have Peter Pan out and your opponent has Jiminy Cricket out, he's going to enter exerted.
And then you can ready him somehow, right?
Yeah, we're most of the way there. We're cooking.
Bravo on the context, sister. Bravo. So pulling up our earlier cards. All right, here we go. All right, next card. Everybody's got a weakness, which to me is the hidden gem of this set. All right, here we go. 4 cost equal action.
This card has me confused. I'm excited for your answer.
Yeah. Move 1 damage counter from each damage character you have in play to chosen opposing character. Draw a card for each damage counter moved this way. So I think, what was your question about it? Could I choose more than 1 character to move the damage to? Is that what you?
Yeah, which I'm assuming you can't based on the way it's worded, but correct. I do feel like it's slightly ambiguous.
No, you cannot, because it says to chosen opposing character.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So you're going to take 1 damage counter off of each damage character you have in play. Now, one question that I asked was, can I opt not to move a damage from a character? The answer to that is no. You choose all or none. Well, you choose all. You don't even get to choose none. If you play this card, it is not optional. You're going to move 1 damage from each damage character you have in play. Not optional.
Okay.
Not up to.
Follow-up question then.
Okay, go ahead. What is that?
All right. So hypothetically, I have my opponent has Pinocchio out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have 5 characters on the board. But Pinocchio only takes 4 damage before it gets banished.
Well, you're moving all of the damage at one time.
Moving all of the damage. Yeah. So if I'm moving all of the damage, that also means I'm drawing all of those cards.
You're correct.
So you can move in excess and still draw equivalently.
You're correct.
Okay.
Yep. Because it doesn't say. So what it doesn't say draw a card for each damage dealt this way. It says for each damage counter moved this way.
And it's moved so resist doesn't block the damage because it's not taking damage. It's just being moved to it, correct?
You see my thumbs up, right? Yes. Yes. Yes.
A+ for me.
Hey, John Henry, you see this purple card that we need in our Emerald Amethyst deck? I hope you're still listening. So,
is he your Emerald Amethyst friend?
Yeah. He was on. He joined us on. I think it was the 3rd podcast I did. It was one right after you. You were number 3, and then we did John Henry, and then John Henry came on, and yep, that's him. And so and then you came back on. So yeah. This is the removal card that I've been looking for. I love Ring the Bell, and I will never not play Ring the Bell, but this one's I got a buddy. Hey, Jake.
You love Ring the Bell. Ring the Bell is like your card.
It is. That is my card. I have been on that card since the day I saw it. So, but yeah, it's great.
I think this card looks really good, and I'm also thinking I'm really bad at deck building. Warning. Very bad at deck building. But hypothetically, you have like this and the green 2-drop go-go in hand.
I know, right?
Move a bunch of damage to I don't know, a giant Maui or something.
See, John Henry. So I say something, John Henry, who's in chat here. So Sabrina is an Emerald Amethyst player, but I for some reason she keeps playing Steel Song. right? I don't know why.
For punishment?
Right. So this card, right? You're starting to see, right? This is the beauty I love with the like moving damage around is like it jacks people's math up. And you could follow something up with a go-go. Like go-go is such a great card. Like should always have 4 in your Emerald Amethyst deck or in your, I don't know about your Emerald decks, although I would beg to differ. But it has to be in a deck that has the ability to challenge characters, that has the ability to hold damage like with this card, which is why I like Emerald Amethyst, because it has the ability to do both of those. And so, cards like this really are powerful. But if you're playing like some really fast deck where your characters take 1 damage and they're gone and they don't deal any, this card is for the birds, right? And go-go's for the birds. So, it's like you just got to have it tuned just right in order to do that. And this is why I like this card is because, the version of the deck that I play, it's kind of set up to really benefit for something like this. And I'm really excited about it. So, all right. Woo, we're running out of time here. We got Scoot. Oh, man, we're going to hit our time block. Here we go. Dormouse. Dormouse is 2 costs, dual link, Emerald, Ruby. I'm trying to say the right names for the colors. So that's why I struggle if y'all hear me going, so it is, has 1 strength, 2 willpower, quest for 1. He has an ability, very rude indeed. When you play this character, you may put 1 damage counter on chosen characters. So the question was, and just like Sabrina just asked, how does it interact with resist? It doesn't care about resist. It just moves a damage counter. So this is great. You can ignore all that resist stuff. All righty, here we go. Fred, 7 cost inkable, Emerald card, 5 strength, 6 willpower, quest for 3, shift 5. And he has an ability. I like where this is heading. Whenever this character quests, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a Floodborn character card. Put that card into your hand and shuffle the rest into your deck. So what happens if I get all the way to the end of my deck and I don't have a Floodborn card? Well,
fail to find.
You fail to find. That's what happens. So just to cut this one off before it even gets started, you do not shuffle your discard pile into your deck and look again. You just stop, and that's it. And so the funny thing is Fred does this every time he quests. So every time it's like a free shuffler. So I'm looking at this guy right here and I'm like, I know I might not ever get to play him in a, like a real legit, like competitive deck. But buddy, I'm going to be brewing with some stuff to be able to manipulate shuffling my deck. Cause I, throw like the card that you look at, you draw 3 cards and then put 2 of them back on top of your deck, put 2 crappy cards on your deck, crest a Fred and send them away. So it's green, same color. So, but anyways, it's one of the first ones that really gives you this ability to kind of shuffle things really on a consistent basis. So notice I said consistent basis. There are cards that make you shuffle your deck, but just consistent. All right.
So I have a non-rules judge question for you.
Okay.
Do you think the ability to shuffle your deck becoming more common is going to make there be... So I know, okay, let me
I already know where you're going with it, but go ahead.
You have knowledge. When you can put things on the bottom of your or the top of your deck, you have inherent knowledge of your deck. And that's a question that gets asked in a lot of judge calls. It's like, well, do you know what's supposed to be on the bottom? Do you know what's on the top? But with shuffling it, I feel like we're opening the door for more judge calls in that vein.
I think you open the door for more stalling. That's what I think.
Well, we don't need any more of that in this game.
Yeah. I think for the most part, I think it'll be fine. And the great thing here is that you have to reveal all those cards too. So your opponent's going to see all your deck as well. It's not like you get to search, right? You're revealing cards from top of your deck. So when you reveal, your opponent gets to see your deck too. And then you just shuffle it up, you present it to your opponent to cut, and you just carry on. So
you can't even fake fail to find then if you're revealing. You have
to
find.
Yep. Correct. Next card, Arthur. Another card I really like. I should have put in my list if I didn't. 4 cost inkable, dual link, Sapphire Steel card, 6/6, quest for 3. No more books. Skip your turns, draw step. So the question is, do I skip my draws, all my draws? The answer is no. You just skip your turns, draw step. Now, your draw step consists of you drawing a card, so you will not draw any cards during a draw step. But you can still draw cards if you have other ways to draw cards in your deck. So, yeah, this is a great code Kiwi. Yeah.
Jake loves this card.
Yeah, this is a good card. This was the other one when I told you I had a couple of them that were just on the edge of my top 10, and this was one of the other ones too. So,
Jake, you opened a foil of this the other day, didn't you?
Here we go.
I feel like he opened a foil and then was debating dropping it like turn 3 in the next game.
That'd be great. He said, yes, he did. Yes, he did. There you go. Nice. All right. Next card, Bruno Madrigal. 7 cost, uninkable, 3/7. Quest for 2 has shift 5, Bright Future. Whenever this character sings a song, you may draw a card for each character you have in play. So the question that I just wanted to bring up with this that will probably come up, because I saw this happen with another card, Clarabelle, actually, when she first came out. Can I draw fewer cards than characters I have in play? In Clarabelle's case, can I draw cards fewer than what my opponent has in their hand? And for Clarabelle, the answer was no. You have to draw, if you choose to use Clarabelle's ability, you're going to draw all the way up to whatever their hand size is. So if you're not careful, you can deck yourself, right? Same principle here. Can I draw fewer cards than characters I have in play? The answer is no. You either draw none or you draw 1 for every character you have in play. So no, I only want to draw 3 of the 5. No, you got to draw them all. So Jake says in chat, I want to run Pleakley in the Kiwi deck and then get value with Arthur and then ink it with Pleakley. That'd be great. Ooh.
He's brewing.
That's what this is about, right? Brutus, 4 cost, inkable, 4/3 ruby card. Quest for 1 has ability Spiteful. During your turn, when this character is banished, if one of your characters was damaged this turn, gain 2 lore. So the question is, does Spiteful trigger if Brutus is banished by damage from a challenge during a turn when no other damage was dealt beforehand? In other words, the only damage dealt on the turn was the damage that banished Brutus in a challenge. So would you get the 2 lore from it?
I don't know. Yes.
You just took a guess, or was it an educated guess?
So my screen is buffering and I can't read the card.
Oh, okay.
So I'm running on half my info.
Okay. So when he's banished, here's the key. It says if one of your characters was damaged this turn. So the question is, was one of your characters damaged this turn?
Yes. The criteria was met.
It was met. You gain 2 lore. Yep. He's one of your characters, right? All right. Next card. Flynn Rider, 4 cost, uninkable emerald card. He is 1/4 and quest for 3. His ability, this is a very big day. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player may choose and discard a card. If they don't, you gain 2 lore. So my question here on his ability is, if your opponent has no cards in their hand, can you gain 2 lore?
Yeah, you gain the 2 lore.
Yep, you do. Why? Because
they
did not discard a card.
They were given the option. They just couldn't do it.
That's right. Absolutely. There you go. Good call. All right. And we're flying through these because we're up against our time block here, just so you all know. But feel free to ask questions.
I got smarter.
What's that?
It's because I got smarter.
Yeah.
I know the answers now.
I can't argue with you on that one. All right. All right. 4 costs, Goofy. I might not make it through this card. Hold on. Let me get myself together. All right. Get it together, Kelsey. All right, here we go. Goofy, 4 cost, inkable, amber card, 3/4. Quest for 2. Plenty to go around. At the end of your turn, you may remove up to 1 damage from each of your other characters. Ready each character you remove damage from this way. So I kind of put this in here to go along with the Bruno card. I should have separated them, should have kept them together. But can I choose to remove damage from some of my characters and not all the others? And not others?
No. It's 1 or nothing.
Correct.
All or nothing, rather.
You could choose to remove up to 0 damage from them. But because you can choose to remove 0 damage, but you still have to, all of your characters are still going to be basically chosen. So, which is important. So, all right. I already did Jiminy Cricket. Sorry about that. Madame Medusa. She is 3-cost inkable, 3/3 dual ink ruby amethyst card. Double cross has the ability double cross. When you play this character, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to return chosen character with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. So the question that I bring up with this one is, can I deal damage with that double cross ability to a character that would essentially banish the character and then return that character to my hand before it got banished?
That's a good question.
So let's think about how we resolve things, right? So I'm going to deal 2 damage to the character. I'm going to go by the card, right? So when I play this character,
resolve the whole card,
correct,
right? Before you can do anything else.
Right. So the 2 damage will go on the character, but I haven't done my game state check yet. That would cause the character to be banished because I'm still in the middle of the card. So I keep on going through the card, then I can return a chosen character with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. So as long as that character had cost 2 or less, I can return it back to my hand. So, yep, there we go. This is good. I like some of these cards because they're good lessons in the rules, like with things like game state and things like that. So
yeah, it makes you think things through.
Yep. All right. Our last card that I want to bring up is Nathaniel Flint, a 2-cost inkable steel card, 3/3, quest for 2. Everybody thinks he's the next Mr. Smee, but he is not. You can't play this character unless an opposing character was damaged this turn. So the question is, can I play Nathaniel Flint after putting or moving a damage counter onto an opposing character?
I want to say no, because they weren't damaged.
Yes. Good job.
I don't know.
No, don't question yourself. You got it. Just stop right there. I'm going to cut you off.
Go me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so they weren't damaged. They just had a damage counter put or moved on it to them. So no, you could not play him. So anyway. That's it for our cards. However, there is one thing that I ran into, and I'm sure most of you have seen it all online. So this is bonus. Ding, 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 ding. Our first infinite combo in Lorcana. We have combos that can 1-turn kill, but they are not infinite, such as the Relentless Beast, because it's dependent on what your opponent has on the board. Now, most of the time you will, if they have enough toughness on the board, you can't do it. But here we go. Here's the combo, right? So you got Monstro. He essentially is the 8-cost inkable amethyst card. I'm just going to read the ability that matters on him. He has the ability called Full Breach, where you could choose and discard a card to ready him, and he can't quest for the rest of the turn, right? So you could discard a card and ready him up. So if you play Donald Duck, another 8-cost card from the new set, 8-cost inkable amber card, he has an ability on him, and I'm not going to read all of his card, but he has an ability that says when you play this character, your other characters gain the ability to exert and draw a card, right? So now you can see what we got going on with Monstro, right? So I can exert Monstro to draw a card. I can take that card, discard it, and ready him up. So I can essentially go through my entire deck with this combo, right? So you go, well, why does that matter? Okay. Well, in the midst of all of that, what you want to do is essentially go through your whole deck. Make sure you have keep an Allen of Dale card in your hand. Play the Allen of Dale card, right? And so now Allen of Dale says whenever you play a song, gain 1 lore, and you keep 2 copies of We Know the Way, and you sing or play We Know the Way, and basically shuffle another We Know the Way back into your deck to draw a card for free. And you draw a card for free. And guess what you're going to draw? We Know the Way, because it's the only card you shuffle back in your deck. And you get to play it for free. And you'll shuffle the other We Know the Way into your deck. Each time you play that song, your Allen of Dale is inking you, is getting you lore. And you just do that 20 times. And yay. Now, there's a video on YouTube that, I think the Podcana podcast, I know the Podcana podcast, Moyen had a deck with this in there. And then some folks have done it. There's videos online of people pulling it off. Hey, if you get this thing pulled off, by all means, you should post a video of yourself doing it, because it's one for the ages. That's a lot of ink and a lot of stuff to set up, and it will be grand when you pull it off. And you may lose 24 out of 25 games, but you'll talk about that one game that you won when you did it. I promise you. So, yeah. little neat interaction there. So it's kind of cool. Okay. So we've reached that point in our show where we're near the end, and I'm not going to let Sabrina get away with it. I got to do my card where you try and figure out what the card does. So I gave her a warning tonight. I don't know if she knew where it was coming from, but here we go. All right, Sabrina, here's our card for the night where you got to figure out what she does. It is Snow White. What's that?
White, oh, geez.
Snow White.
No, go ahead, tell me.
Snow White, unexpected house guest. She is a 2-cost uninkable, 1/2 quest for 1. She has an ability called How Do You Do? Sabrina, do you know what that ability is?
Is that the one where you can pay 1 less for any of the dwarves characters you play?
Oh, hold on. Yes, you did it. You're 2 and 1 now. You did it. You're correct.
I won that round. 7 points for me.
You pay 1 less to play 7 dwarves characters. Outstanding job. Yeah, Jake says good job. Hey,
he knows I don't know what cards do.
You say good luck. You got it. Wow. Yeah, right. Hey, it doesn't matter how many you get right from this point on. You missed Ring the Bell, but you know what it does now, right? So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I missed that one. It was a crucial mistake.
That's all right. That's all right. You're good. You got it now, right? All righty. Well, we are coming to the end here. And so I just want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat. We will be back next week as well. And if you haven't already done so, please click that subscribe button, follow us. Hey, we're pretty close to hitting one of those milestones on Twitch, to where we can unlock some things to do some stuff. And as life kind of settles down for us, we really want this podcast to go on and improved for you so that it's more pleasing to look at. I can't get rid of my face. You're stuck with that, but I can at least make the graphics around it look a little bit better. So these are all things that we have plans to work on, and we'll continue to line up more guests for the show. And so we just want to thank everybody who's stuck with us thus far. It's been fun. This was our 10th episode, by the way. That's huge. We made it to 10. So we will continue going. I have a lot of fun bantering with Sabrina, and look forward to doing more. So it may not be fun for her, but who knows? So
I'm used to it now.
Yeah, you say it now, right? Okay. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to Mattified. If you haven't checked out their website yet, they do a great job foiling out some play mats. I imagine if you had a play mat and you got it to them, they could work with you to get one, or you can go there and they sell them. Reach out to them. They're a great job. You've probably seen some of their play mats at the DLCs or at Charlie CC collectible shows. They're making their rounds. They do a great job. I had to give that out to them. So Sabrina, you got any parting shots before we go?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Folks, we'll see you all next week. I want to thank you all again for joining us. And pretty soon we will hopefully be in podcast format. There's a big surprise for you. So we were working on that. So we want to thank you all very much, and have a great weekend and enjoy Happy Pulls with Reign of Jafar. If anybody gets one of those frozen enchantments, hit me up. See y'all next week.